Good. So let's talk about London. London is as attractive as ever. You're going to start hearing a lot more now about London. If you can, subscribe, like the channel. If you've got any questions, chuck them into the comments right now, and I'll be happy to answer them. London's coming back. Make no mistake. We've seen it before. I've seen this, twice before. I've seen it. London is coming back. Yeah. Exclusive new figures predict, 20% growth, beyond coronavirus and Brexit to, 2025. 20%. Which, look, I think that would probably be about right too. I think London has the best fundamentals, and then it ripples out from that. So it's right that we're already seeing London start to trigger, and then the ripple effect will take out. I mean, it's interesting. We're not so much looking in central London, okay, for our investors, but we're now going outside 345, but also to those commuter towns. So you're going to start to see a lot more property coming in, in western suburbs, West London commuter towns, west of London commuter towns, I should say, and also north of London, because those are the areas where money's getting, put into, huge money. So, you're going to see that, and that ripple effect will affect out. But it's the same with the Manchester, it may not be the city centre where you're investing, but it may be slightly out, along those transport links and those fundamentals. And I think that's really important. Average price in London has gone up by 17,000 since May. That's not bad if you, if you consider that most people are saying how bad rents have been in London, and they've been going down, and there's all these horror stories. I mean, we haven't really had the horror stories. Yeah, we've had rent drops, and yes, because there's a lot of Airbnb and there's a lot of service apartments that have come back onto the long-term market. Yeah, so that was a dump of supply, and obviously the demand was lower, so therefore it took some time, and therefore the rents dropped. It's a classic supply and demand. So, but the other side of it is, which I thought was interesting, is renters aren't quitting, after all, says Zoopla, which obviously there's much hyped exodus from from London. People saying oh, everyone's leaving, everyone's going to buy the race for space and all this sort of stuff. And I've been critical of it for a lot of times. There's certainly people doing that, but that doesn't mean that everyone's going to leave. I saw one thing that 1.2 people have already left London. And it's like, okay, fair enough, but a lot of those have probably gone back to their parents' places. They've gone, so it's not a case of that all of a sudden London is going to be dead and London is far too robust for this. It's seen this many times before, and it will continue to see more, So I think really, it's all great for the headlines, but you got to read beyond the headlines. And when you look at this, London still has the fundamentals, and second lockdown has slowed things down again. And there's people in the streets who don't want to wear masks and things like that. That's their choice, I guess. Is it their choice, or is it whatever? I'm not going to get into that politics. But look, I think what will happen is, yes, fundamentally our work patterns will change. Yeah, so it'll be a blend of work from home and work from office. It won't be this everyone's going to work from home. In fact, most of our staff don't want to work from home. Now, do they want the option of being able to? Yeah, and that's where the blend comes in. And I think that's where the blend comes in. And this exodus that people talk about, the exodus is more going to be around the fact that people want to move to areas where those areas, the local areas, have a local community. Yeah. So don't think that just because you go find somewhere cheap that's a crappy area with no fundamentals, no transport, anything like that, that you're going to be on a winner because you got in before everyone else moved there. They're not going to move there. They're going to move to where the best fundamentals are. It's, this is what happens every single time. So, look, there's huge opportunities out there. And as long as you're not, the news is there to have the headlines. And, unfortunately that's, and a lot of them are the majority of the negative headlines, unfortunately. But I think the real key is, how does it affect your portfolio? How does it affect your career? Things like disruption, all that. And when you work all that out, actually, you might find that now there's no better time to invest than now. The rates are insane. I mean, we're talking, I've got some clients who are talking about 1.9%, which is just extraordinary. And you know, the cash flow on that is so cheap. And they're able to lock that in for 2 to 5 years. Okay, you know, so yeah. So guys, that's it for this week. Any questions you've got, you can call the team, you can email the team, and we're more than happy to answer it. More than happy to give you, our 2 cents in predictions and where we think things are going and how your strategy can work or not work, and all that sort of stuff. We're here to sort of help you guys. But look, thank you very much.